Card Junkies.
Alright, if you guys don't know us by now, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Hobbitkrom, and this is
Tommy T.
Hell yeah, and we are the Card Junkies. Welcome to our channel for our X amount of time, because I can't count very well.
Well, we got a new deck for you. This one's the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good dog dick.
A good old glory.
99 cents.
Hell yeah. A little for me, a little for my buddy over here. Still haven't named him yet.
That's a little hobbit.
He's so cute. He's like, yeah, you're so soft, just like my beard.
So Hobbit, let's go ahead and get started, bro. You want to go ahead and run us down on the land?
Sure. We're running 24 lands here. I know that's high for a lot of people, but it actually fits us really well. We're going to start off with 4 canyon slough.
Then we're going to go on to 4 fetid pools.
And then moving down to foreboding ruins, 4 islands, 3 mountains, and Tommy,
4 sunken hollows.
hell yeah.
So can you explain to me a little bit on what the canyon, the fetid, the forbidding, and the sunken hollows do?
Well, if my memory serves me right, which it probably isn't, but canyon slough and fetid pools both cycle. If those aren't the right ones, I'm retarded.
No, those are the cycles. Those are the cycles, buddy.
Right. Anyways, cycling is a huge part of our deck. Also, if you can't tell by the names of these lands, it is 3 colors. It is what people call a Grixis. Or you can go red, black, blue, whatever you want to call it.
I typically call it Bobby's mom. But
What, are you saying it's a whore?
it's all based on fortune, bro.
Right. So, that's our land base. There's 24 lands. Especially in 3 colors, it's important to run high amounts of lands. Just so it always guarantees you to see what you need to see for the spells that you're running. Alright, Tommy, go and lead us into our 1-drops.
So, this one I can't really say, but I want to say it's the galvanic bombardment.
Galvanic.
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 Hey, when did you learn how to read?
I didn't. I remembered the card because it took me over a lot when I first started playing Magic again in Standard.
We're running 4 of those.
Anyways, instead of me talking into my beard, let's talk into the camera. Gonna move on to our 2-drops. We're going to run 4 censors because nobody expects Force Spike. If you don't know what Force Spike does, it counters a spell unless its controller plays 1 mana. Forces them to play 1 turn behind. Censor does cost 2 though. It costs 1 blue, 1 colorless, and it cycles for 1 blue. Cycling, like I said, is really important. Really, really important.
What does this do again?
Galvanic bombardment?
We didn't go over that.
I guess not, huh? Well, man, if it does anything, it's like a shock, but for creatures. And if you played an Odyssey block, you would know what Flame Burst did, and it would... Okay, let's not talk about Magic of the Past and how
But
it's...
what if they don't know?
Okay, well, Galvanic Bombardment. It's 1 red, you'll see on a target creature player. Plus 1 for each copy of Galvanic Bombardment in the graveyard. Which is similar to Flame Burst from Odyssey block, if you're as old as I am. And by old, I mean I've been playing for too many years. But I love the card then, love it now. Great value. If it's in the graveyard, doesn't matter. Because it's all about spinning that wheel, baby.
Ooh. Now back to our 2-drops. Our last 2-drop is actually Lay Bare the Heart, once again.
Because I love the card a lot. I don't have much of a heart, so I lay it out there for you. But it allows you to look at your opponent's hand, discard a non-legendary permanent from it. That's a non-land, of course, because discarding lands would suck. But it's great for just picking out, choosing what you don't want to see to play against. Definitely helps when you're playing more of a control matchup, and if you're playing Grixis, you're playing control.
Okay. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and go our split card, because it's considered a 2-drop and a 3-drop. It's cutting ribbons.
Alright, cutting ribbons is great. It allows us to have another secondary removal spell on turn 2 that also acts as a win con. In a control deck and running 24 lands, we're going to have a lot of excess mana later on in the game. It's going to allow us to really push at the end for a finish and stop things early on that we need to stop. That 4 damage is really important because that is the breaking point between, what Galvanic Bombardment can hit in the first 2 casts, or later on when you look at things like, the elephant, the Aether Elephant. I can't remember its name. I never remember names, but I remember what it does. But the energy elephant, it's 3/4. It's got a big ass, and sometimes big asses need big whoopings.
So back to our 3-drops. We're running 3 Drake Havens.
3 Drake Havens. Drake Haven is 1 blue, 2 colorless for an enchantment. Whenever you cycle a card or discard a card, you may pay 1 cost mana. You get a 2/2 flying Drake creature, which my little gremlin doesn't like because he's groundbound, like I am.
Gravity.
Oh, my mortal enemy.
So next on the list is Faith of the Devoted. We're running 3 of those.
Alright, Faith is just another target for cycling and discarding. You do have to pay 1 colorless to gain 2 life and make your opponent lose 2 life. It does also cost 3 mana, as he said. These are 3 drops. 1 black and 2 colorless. Fits what we're doing in that, as well as just another good way to kind of like work on finishing off your opponent, because it's another target for all of it. It's important for us to run this many targets, that way we have a chance to see one of them in the game.
Next on the list is Collective Defiance. I actually really like this card.
It's 2 red and 1 colorless for a spell that has several options. Mostly we're using it for the Wheel of Fortune option. If you don't know what Wheel of Fortune is, it is a magic card that allows you to discard your hand and draw that many cards, which is the whole point of this deck. We're just going to drop our hand, get value out of dropping our hand with things like Drake Haven and Faith of the Devoted. Hey, you guys!
We're running 4 of those.
Right. The other 2 things it does, it has Escalate, so you can play all these options for a total of 5 rounds. It can deal 3 damage to your opponent or 4 damage to a creature, because you gotta clap that ass. And,
well, next on the list, we're playing Sweltering Suns.
right, Sweltering Suns, board removal, zombies, tokens, whatever you're facing against that you don't want to fight army of, you want to remove it.
Being budget, this is probably one of the more expensive cards on the list.
You know, whether you're playing either paper or online, it's still one of the more expensive cards. But the great thing about it is, oh, that felt much better. Yeah, I bet you enjoyed it too. Yep, he agreed. But it sweeps the board. If you don't need to sweep the board, it can cycle. And cycling is a thing we need to do because we need to activate Drake Haven and Faith.
Spin that wheel.
That's right.
So, onto our 4th drops, we're running 4 Forgotten Creations.
Right. As obviously it's been forgotten. That's why it's on the list. But I don't remember. Well, I found this card randomly because I was like, I wonder if I can search up random magic cards. And I'm like looking through things and I'm like, I'm bored with this. And I'm like,
He calls me and he's just like, bro, I found a forgotten treasure. I was like, what? He's like, Forgotten Creations, bro. It's literally forgotten.
Right. Because what it does, it's 1 blue, 3 colorless. It's a 4-drop for a 3/3 creature zombie thing with Skulk. Okay. Skulk, if you don't know what that ability does, it can only lock with creatures of power equal to or less than it. But that's not where we're using it, because we don't really care about that stuff. What we care about is that it's a Wheel of Fortune in a creature. Every upkeep, you may discard your hand and then draw that many cards. So that gives us free value to spin the wheel on Drake Haven or Faith of the Devoted. That allows us to just constantly get it for free. So on turn 4 we have 4 mana, right? So we're looking at this at our 5th turn upkeep. We have Drake Haven or Faith of the Devoted that we can spend all of that mana if we want and put all that into it. That's either going to make our opponent lose 8 life or get 4 2/2 Drakes. Huge value, beautiful. I just love it because most people aren't expecting you to drop that.
No, not at all.
So it allows us to do that. But if it's killed, brings a kill spell out of their hand. We now know that they have that. It's win-win either way. And Skulk, it's not bad, but it definitely gets around Bristling Hydra, which I absolutely fucking hate.
That dog dick don't sound too bad.
Right? I like it a lot. And Tommy, why don't you continue on down the list?
Now we're on to our 5 drops. We're doing 4 Archfiend of the Infernor.
Ifnir.
Ifnir.
If I be near you, I'm going to snatch your girl. I mean, but in general, this is a reference to that deck. I actually made this deck based off of it because I was like, man, I just saw a bunch of the same values of cards in different ways than Tommy saw. So this was kind of my little twisted fun spinoff of Tommy's idea, which was actually much more competitive than mine. But I found mine much more fun to play. But archfiend and ifnir, whenever you cycle or discard a card, you add a -1/-1 counter to all of your opponent's creatures. So if you roll in your hand on turn 6 and you have a couple spells that can wipe the board, it keeps everything constantly in check. One of the things I did encounter is that what that was kind of cool. I was actually swinging in for an attack, and I got to cycle my censor to reduce Avacyn's power and defense. So my archfiend didn't die, and I progressed it forward through that. So I may not have killed Avacyn that turn because she's indestructible when she flashed in, but it saved my creature and reduced her power. And the next turn I got to roll through and kill her off.
So you were also telling me that when you were playing this one, it actually was pretty competitive, but also fun to play against what type of decks?
It's really good against just general mid range is what people call it, where they're trying to progress forward. That it's not super aggro, but we do have super aggro answers, which is why we run 4 sweltering suns. But some of our better matchups are just against that, because people are just trying to drop these really cool creatures and bombs. You look at like Avacyn, Gisela, these things that just generally promote problems and. Gargle. But it's great against mid-range. It has some answers to aggro and do okay against because we have enough removal to get rid of everything.
Let me go ahead and bring you into the sideboard. We're running 1 negate.
Right. Just to put it in there in case we want to take out a censor. We don't really want to take out too many censors, but we need another option to possibly get rid of Marble Works. It's one of the better answers to it. We're going to run 3 dispossesses again because I loved our sideboard so much. I wanted to use dispossess again, and so did my little buddy. We're going to go with 4 Yahenni's expertise because I love chaining spells, and it's a great value. If your opponent has big creatures, you can always Yahenni's into a sweltering sun. That's -3/-3 and 3 damage. It's going to kill just about anything on the board right now. Definitely is one way to get around Bristling Hydra, which I absolutely hate. I know it takes 2 spells too, but he's hexproof, and I had lost so many times that card. I had to find an answer to it.
We're also running 1 hazoret.
1 hazoret we're using for control matchups because we cycle and roll our hands so much. We actually have a higher chance of seeing her, even though she's a 1/of. But making us discard cards, allowing us to discard cards for damage definitely helps with progressing forward. We're always, later on in the game, we're going to be lower on cards because we're casting spells and rolling our hand and drawing that many cards after. So we're always going to be 1 card down. So she's going to be a good attacker as well as an option against control for just general damage purposes. And she's also much more budget than Chandra.
Yeah.
So that's the reason we're looking at her rather than Chandra herself.
Next, we're running 1 fateful showdown.
Fateful Showdown is another Wheel of Fortune card in case we are running against a deck that we have a little bit more time with. We have more options to roll our hands. What Fateful Showdown does, it's 2 red, 2 colorless. Discard your hand, deal that much damage to target creature or player. So it allows us to kind of move forward against other matchups where we just are going to try to roll our hand and hit you with it, as well as create drakes or make you lose life and gain life. Just really works well with the deck. It's a really, it's a new version of Wheel of Fortune with a little bit of added bonus. So I really do love that card.
Last but not least, we're running 3x-forces.
Right, because they're going to let us spin the wheel one way or the other. And we're not talking about Marvel. Again, we are talking about Wheel of Fortune. And I do love this card mostly because it's super budget, even though I love my gremlins. Allows you to hit multiple artifacts with less mana. And I want to keep this deck as budget as possible.